My name is David Holland. I'm from Oklahoma City, and I'm a fine artist. I first got interested in art when I was a small child, really. I took, classes I was in art class in school and was pretty much fascinated by that, and did some drawings that got some attention and things like that, so I got a little bit of encouragement as a kid. Then when I was an older adult, I went to school. I went to the University of, went to several universities actually before I went to graduate at Oklahoma City University with a BA in art. But before that, I had started, I had an interest in stained glass, and so I did that for quite a while. That got me interested in drawing, and so I started drawing after that. There were several subjects that interested me, but none that I really pursued directly. Then, over the years, really, I developed a style of kind of an illustration style. This was a series before the one I'm working on right now, but they were pictures that basically told a little story or gave a moral play or something like that. But then I had a show of those works, and I had probably 30 paintings of that series in a show, and I had, I was wanting to make a living at art, and so sales at that show were kind of important to me. And I sold 2 pieces, and they were really inexpensive pieces, like $200 or $300 for originals, which is pretty low, but I only sold 2 pieces out of 30. So that was, for me, a big letdown, and I kind of had to regroup, think about art, what I really wanted to do. I really wanted to pursue it as a career, so I decided, I knew that I had to make art in a subject that people appreciated and liked and would purchase. So it came down to 2 subjects at that point for me. One of them was flowers, because I'm a big gardener, and so I have a big garden I do flowers, and so that was one option, and I've done some still lifes of flowers and enjoyed that. But really my love was watching thunderstorms, and so I kind of picked that up, and I'd taken pictures of storms, just in general as I was going along, and then I kind of figured, oh, well, that could be a subject for art. So I started doing oil pastels first, because that was a medium. I had a job at that time, and so it was a medium. You just have all these colors in a box, so you can just pick up whatever color you want out of the box, rather than having, when I'm doing oil painting, I have to spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes mixing up colors that I want to use for that painting. So it's a pretty involved process. But oil pastels are fairly simple, and they're very bright colors, and you can mix them with your fingers and things like that. So I did probably 3 different cloudscapes using oil pastels that I really liked. The colors were really vibrant, and so that encouraged me, and I did get some acceptance. I think I showed that work at a gallery and sold one of those pieces. So that kind of made an impact on me, so I knew maybe that could be the path. I also had the really big opportunity of, there's an organization in Oklahoma called the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition. They really teach artists how to become professionals, and so they go over everything you need to know, from creating a portfolio, taking pictures of your work, how to develop a career, all that stuff. They go over the business aspect of becoming a professional artist. So I went to a seminar called Creative Capital, which was a weekend retreat, where this company, that's kind of their job, is to go literally over. It was a really intensive 2.5 day process of learning everything about how to become a professional artist. So with that knowledge, that kind of really put the fire in me to pursue it as more of a career. That was in 2006 that I went to that seminar, and then it took until 2012 before I could quit my job and then devote full time to creating art. And so at that point, it was cloudscapes that I was doing. And so I started, I got a wonderful Christmas present of the whole oil painting package, basically the brushes, the easel, the canvas, and the palette knife, and everything you needed. And so it was kind of my setup. So I started painting clouds from then on, and kind of never looked back. And I really love it. painting every day makes such a difference, because if you're painting every day, you retain all the knowledge that you had by what you were developing that previous day, and so you retain that, and it just is very progressive. And so I've really seen an improvement in just the technique that I use. And the other thing that's kind of interesting that plays into the art for me is that I only see out of one eye. I can't see. This eye is completely blind. Basically, I see 5% of light in this eye. So things and I lost that vision when I was in college. So when I was studying art, so I had to kind of I had to think how to re-see things almost, because when you're painting or drawing, you're creating a two-dimensional object out of a three-dimensional space. So oddly enough, seeing out of one eye, you don't have three-dimensionality going on with your eyes, and so what you see is what you get. So really, there's no confusion for me when I'm drawing or painting. The edges aren't, they're right where they are. So for me, one thing that I tend to do, it seems like though, is I try to make things exceptionally three-dimensional in my work. And so there's a couple of different techniques that I use to do that. When I take pictures of clouds, a lot of times the top part of the cloud is really bleached out and the bottom part is too dark for you to see. So I'll take an image and put it on my computer, and then I'll brighten it up a lot, so that when you brighten it up, the lower parts of the cloud that you really can't see, they're just kind of nondescript, you can kind of start to see where the bottom of that cloud is and see how to depict that in space. And then when I darken down that same image, the part that is on the top of the cloud that's usually all bleached out and white, that you can't see any dimension in, if you darken it down, then those rounded shapes on the top of the cloud start to come out. So when I'm depicting my clouds, a lot of times I'll print out three pictures, one that's really darkened, one that's really lightened, and then one that's as is. And the other thing that I do is I play with the brightness and the contrast on my computer, because if you manipulate that a little bit, you can get color to come out where it's not necessarily, it's in the photo, but not as it's printed. If you darken it, then you can see more color pop out. So I also use that as a technique to really enhance the color to make it a really vibrant piece. So that's what I'm currently doing, and I have the show currently at Graceful Arts in Alva through March 27th. And I'm from Oklahoma City, and that's where I usually show. I show at the Howell Gallery. It's my regular gallery down there. I also have some connection with the National Weather Center. I did a seminar. I did a residency there at the National Weather Center, which was really fun to get that to get interactions with the scientists who study clouds. So that gave me a little bit better knowledge talking to them on how to depict them, because they can kind of tell me what's going on. The winds are pulling this cloud in this way, or so that information was really helpful. But that was one of the other projects that I did, was that residency. But if you'd like to see more of my work, you can check out my website. It's davidhollandartist.com, and I really appreciate the time. Thank you.